Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Loner and Sen here on Metalopolis. I believe this is one of the games taken from BlizzCon 2010. I was at BlizzCon over the weekend. It was a great experience. Thank you to everyone who came up to me and said hi. I also watched a lot of the videos that I saw on HD and Husky's channel. And after watching them with my wife looked at me and said, "You never smile, do you?" I was having a lot of fun. I guess I needed to tell my face that, and I will try to be a little bit more happy and smiley at the future events. Anyways, back to the game. We have Sen spawning at the 9 o'clock position as the red Zerg player. Meanwhile, over here at the 6 o'clock position, we see Loner spawning as the blue Terran. So Terran versus Zerg here on Metalopolis. We do see that Sen now moving out with this Overlord will just be coming straight into this base and trying to get as much sight as possible. I'm not sure if this was one of the stage matches or not, or if this was one of those games that were taking place in the private section. I saw so many games over the weekend that, and if this game all of a sudden does become too familiar for me, I will try to hold off and not give any real spoilers. So now we see Sen coming in with this Overlord, and the Overlord just flying straight into this position, not trying to hide itself. There's pretty much no place for this Overlord to hide here. It's not like Lost Temple where there are cliffs or any sort of chasms. And now we see an SCV moving out from Loner. So Loner now moving out with this SCV will quickly see and spot the 14 hatchery of Sen. So a pretty standard 14 hatchery coming in from Sen. Over here, we do see that there is a refinery currently coming into play, so I do not believe Loner will be using a 4 racks build at all as this Overlord starts to spasm out over here right by this barracks. We do see an SCV is now coming up into this location here. So we had a 14 hatchery followed by a 13 spawning pool. That spawning pool will be a little bit delayed, but I do not think that Loner will be able to get down a bunker anytime soon, just because the barracks does take some time to complete. And now that the bunker is completed, and now we do see a Marine trying to make its way over there. So the rally point has already been set into this position here. And now one SCV perhaps going to try to place a bunker. Very, very important that Sen has an Overlord in the air to gain sight over into this hatchery. Too many times I see a Zerg player trying to use or just trying to place a hatchery at their natural expansion without getting an Overlord in the air. Without that Overlord, that one hatchery has a very, very limited sight range. So all of a sudden when that hatchery is completed, you could end up having 2 bunkers just within sight range. We now taking a look at the production tab, see a couple of Zerglings and now being trained up, and that hatchery has now been completed. However, there's just one Marine trying to shoo away this Overlord. The Overlord, however, will just be able to stay in that position, and it does not look like Loner will be trying to stop the expansion of Sen. So Sen and Loner are pretty much doing a standard opening so far. I know, never mind, Loner now finally getting a bunker down here, but that bunker was really positioned late. And now some Zerglings coming in, only 2 Zerglings coming into this position here. And now with only 4 Zerglings being trained, it does not look like Sen will be trying to overcommit and trying to handle this harassment here. So we now see one Marine trying to make its way back, a second Marine trying to make its way back as well. We are going to have this wall being completed, and now we are going into a factory, perhaps some Hellion play. So yes, Hellions now being trained up in addition to a starport. So a starport now coming into position as well. It looks as though this build will be a Marine into Hellions into Banshees, most likely. We do see 2 Zerglings now trying to move away from these 2 Marines here, and those Zerglings just trying to get as much scouting information as possible. One Zergling may get taken down. No, that Marine will not be able to get its Gauss rifle onto that one Zergling there, and that Zergling will be able to back up. I do like this play by Sen right now. Sen currently getting a couple Zerglings, each activating these Naga watchtowers, and now we see one Hellion making its way over. However, there are already Roaches being trained up and a Queen now coming over. A Queen now perhaps may be able to block this position here as this Hellion tries to run up the ramp, and oh, very nicely done, a nice block there, and that Hellion down to 18 hit points will not be able to deal any significant damage. So a little bit of a misplay there. Loner unable to get up that ramp, that Queen walking very slowly off the creep, and now a Roach will be able to get that acid saliva onto that one Hellion, and there it goes. So that acid saliva dealing 18 damage and pretty much taking down that one Hellion. We do see a bunker now being placed down, so very important that this bunker is placed here. I'm not 100% or placed on this high ground to give that additional range. I'm not 100% sure if I agree with the positioning though. With Zerg, with a range of 4, as soon as one Roach gets onto this high ground position and is able to get sight, other Roaches will be able to attack from this side here and then focus down this one bunker, so that may become an issue. We do see 5 Roaches now currently currently standing outside, but we already have a first Banshee now coming in to be trained. However, those roaches are going to be coming in and trying to sweep around. We do see 5 roaches, which is a decent sized army, trying to push together on this front door. And if those roaches are able to deal damage, oh, getting a couple quick hits here over there, and now that one roach is taking a lot of damage from those 3 Marines from the safety of the bunker. However, in comes one Banshee. That Banshee now getting 2 kills, being very, very smart, trying to rack up those kills. However, that Banshee now has a range of 6 compared to a range of 7. It is still important that you see Sen trying to pull away with these drones, and he is not getting any additional income off of a fair amount of drones. I believe that's what, 14 drones right there, and in comes another Queen. So that Queen trying to shoot down this Banshee. The Banshee barely able to skip along the edge, and it looks like it will be able to survive. No, another Queen now trying to come into position. That Queen getting 2 more hits onto it. Banshee down to 5 hit points, and that Queen unable to get that last needle or acid spine into that Banshee, and that Banshee will be able to escape. So very, very nicely done, and it looks as though now a Viking coming into position as I accidentally drag my window, and I'm going to try to reposition this. There we go. Nope. There. Okay. So it's going to be a little bit off center. But anyways, we now see a Viking now going after Overlord. So one Viking now going to try to start supply locking Sen. Sen's currently sitting at 59 over 52. This one Overlord down to 117 hit points. And now just continuing to be pushed away. We do see 2 Banshee or 2 Queens trying to shoot down this one Viking here. Viking will not be able to get to that Overlord. Overlord down to 65 hit points. However, I believe, yes, an SCV coming off the mineral line in order to repair this one Banshee here. So nicely done by Loner. Loner getting 1 starport, training up 1 Banshee, and after going for 1 Banshee, lifting it off and now transitioning back into Marine Marauder tech. So I believe, though, if those Queens or any Hydralisks are being produced, or more roaches are being produced by Sen, though. So Sen not stopping his roach production, even though those roaches would not be able to stop any of the air forces of Loner. Loner is still trying to get more Marines, has a decent amount, and now 1 medevac in the air. We also see that there is a command center down here on the low ground, and an additional supply depot trying to make a better choke point here, making it difficult for any Zerglings to try to get into this melee damage on this bunker. So I like this play by Loner. Loner using these supply depots as a natural wall, as these roaches trying to perhaps make a little bit of a move here. Army-wise, we see that the army is 875 versus 1600, so Loner definitely in the stronger position right now as a Banshee continues to move around this map. That Banshee has 5 hit points, but these roaches now coming in over here, maybe able to snipe down 1 or 2 SCVs, maybe even a couple Marines, but those roaches able to just scamper away and run off once again. We do see another Queen coming in over here by Sen, and now Sen will be able to shoot down this Banshee fairly easily unless Loner just is able to come in and see this. However, it does not look like it, and Loner losing that 1 Banshee that he has trained up so far. Taking a look at the units we have 1 Viking, 7 medevacs, 14 Marines, and a couple Marauders coming in from Loner. Meanwhile, Sen getting 11 roaches, 1 Overseer, and a couple Zerglings, and that means that the army of Sen is just much smaller in this game. Roaches continuing to move around the map as 1 Overlord will get shot down. Sen, however, will not become supply locked. You do see that Loner has 96 over 118 compared to 107 over 110. However, you do see that Sen has a smaller army. That means that his harvester count should be a little bit less. No, that does not seem to be the case, as these Marines and Marauders finally moving out once again, and there are a lot of roaches here. So roaches versus Marines and Marauders, and the timing on this is absolutely perfect, as all of these Marauders only have the concussive shell. We do not see Stimpak research just quite yet, so it looks as though Loner trying to make sure to get Stimpak first before trying to do any bit of pressure. We do see the level 1 weapons upgrade as well, and now in comes a drop. So Loner now picking up these 2 medevacs here and trying to position themselves and perhaps get a little bit of a drop play there. So we do see that this particular expansion is fairly empty. We also see a Baneling nest coming in, but that Baneling nest may be a little bit too little too late, as these Queens now trying to come in. This Queen down to a couple 10 hit points there, not going to get taken down, and now once again picked back up. Very nicely done. We do see another massing army outside over here as those medevacs trying to pull away. The Baneling nest should be able to complete just in time for those any Zerglings to start morphing into Banelings and then try to deal damage over here. We do also see a Viking now in ground mode, as it does not want to try to shoot down any additional Overlords. So for added DPS, we do also see a lot of Marines, Marauders, SCVs, 1 SCV I believe on auto repair. No, just going to go ahead and activate this Zelnaga Watchtower in order to gain additional sight. We now see 2 additional medevacs now coming into position here. Zerglings underneath it to try to get some damage, will not be able to, as these medevacs just continue to hug that corner, and now perhaps are going to drop right here, and now going to drop here, we do see a lot of reinforcements. So all of those Zerglings unable to put any pressure, as all of those Marines and the Marauders from the low ground offering a lot of support there. So all these Marines and the Marauder on the high ground and low ground doing a lot of damage so far. Nice pickups there. And now we see more Marines and Marauders. However, Roach is now trying to just pressure in, and this is going to be a very bad fight. We do see Stim has been researched. The level 1 weapons upgrade has been completed for Loner. So level 1 weapons upgrade. Queens and Roaches continuing to fire back and forth. A lot of those Roaches getting stuck up on each other as they're just filing in the back there. So Sen needs the micros units a little bit more there. Down goes another medevac, so only one medevac left in play. All these Marines and Marauders once again trying to pull back, and in comes another counterforce, so nicely done. And these Marines and Marauders just trying to snipe off more and more units. Those Roaches unable to truly escape, as there is that concussive shell getting slowing down that last Roach there. Army-wise, both sides are even. 2,300 versus 2,350. Gas is fairly even as well. However, Loner has a lot weaker units. We do see Roaches, a couple of them are in the orange, and I'm surprised that Sen is not researching Burrow. As I say that, he is already researching Burrow and getting the level 2 missile upgrades. So taking a look back at Loner's army, Loner's army is only 1-0 upgraded against 1-1 upgrades as well. With Burrow coming into play momentarily, Sen will be able to get all these Roaches back up to full health very, very quickly. We also see an Infestor, so a fungal growth on top of these Marines and Marauders would deal a lot of damage. We also see the movement upgrades for those Banelings currently be positioned, and now we have what? One Roach trying to fight back and take down a lot of those SCVs, so that Roach already up to 2 kills, and down it goes. We do see that Loner now building up a planetary fortress at this expansion over here at the 5 o'clock position, and now more Marines, Marauders, Siege Tanks moving out that classic ground force from the Terran army, able to deal a lot of damage. We do see some Banelings currently being hatched, and I believe Loner is not able to see any of those Banelings so far. Zergling's now trying to run off to the north side, and now put up some pressure there. Banelings simply just running in, and we'll be able to get a lot of damage in on this so far. However, the Infestor is getting also another fungal growth, and both sides just fighting back and forth. Roach is now trying to escape there, trying to pull back army-wise. 1325 versus 3150, and that is not looking good. Loner does have a lot of low hit point units, and now just continuing to just pressure out even further. Army-wise, things are not looking good, even though Sen is able to deal a lot of damage towards Loner's units. Loner just has more to lose and is able to continue to just have more and more fresh units coming in out of this fight. And now Roaches and Zerglings and a Queen just walking to their death to another Siege Tank over here. Hydralisk trying to come in and join on this fight, but it's not working. A lot of units just on hiatus, on sabbatical, should be trying to come back in and trying to put a little bit more pressure once again. And Loner just doing a lot of damage so far, enabling him to just blast more and more Siege Tanks down. Or I believe I saw a transfusion on a Roach, but one transfusion is not going to change all too much, as those Siege Tanks are able to deal 50 damage against a Roach there. So Marines and Marauders now trying not to use Stim all too much, as those hit points are not going to be able to be replenished by these low energy medevacs. So those medevacs, barely just keeping any of these units alive back and forth, and it looks as though Sen will be forced to say GG. We do see Sen having a couple of Queens left, but that is not it. So Sen, even though he had 2-1 upgrades compared to Loner's 1-1 upgrades, he was able to take that game with Marines, Marauders, and a good fight back and forth there. So really enjoyed this play, and really early aggressive tactic by Loner, using those Banshees, and then just trying to force a lot of micro coming in from Sen. I believe he lost 1 or 2 of those early spawn larvas, and because of that, he fell behind a little bit in the drone count. And then by the time he caught up, his army was just simply too small in order to keep up with Loners. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Loner and Sen here on Metalopolis.